Hey boys and girls, this is Miss Meg from the YMCA Nutrition Program, and today we're going to read the story, How Do You Raise a Raisin by Pam Munoz Ryan. This book comes from the Healthy Schools, Healthy Communities curriculum, written by the Michigan Fitness Foundation. What food group is a raisin in? What other foods are in the fruit group? Where do fruits grow? And why is it important to choose a healthy snack? Let's read this story and find out where a grape or where a raisin comes from. How do you raise a raisin? Tell me so, I'll know. They're such particular little things. How do they sprout and grow? Do raisins grow on Earth or other planets far away? Do aliens collect them and space shuttle them our way? Raisins are dried grapes. So far, there is no proof that raisins grow on other planets. Raisins are grown on Earth in countries like Turkey, Iran, Greece, Australia, and the United States. So who discovered raisins? Were they here when Earth began? Who was the first to nibble them, dinosaurs or man? Raisins were probably discovered when someone or something tasted grapes that had dried on the vine. Over the years, people and animals figured out which grapes produce the sweetest, yummiest raisins. Do raisins grow in one place? Do we like Raisin Creek or Raisin Hill? Is there a particular town called Raisinfield or Raisinville? Raisins grow best in areas with nice dirt, many days of hot weather, a dry climate, and plenty of water. Almost all of the raisins in the United States are grown in the San Joaquin Valley of California, near towns like Chowderville, Dinuba, Kingsburg, and Salima, Weed Patch, and even Raisin City. About 90% of the raisins sold in the United States come from the area around Fresno, California. Do farmers plant some seeds from the local garden shop and wait for raisin bushes to produce a raisin crop? Farmers start a new crop of raisins by taking cuttings from an older grapevine. These pieces of stems are planted in sand until they sprout. Then they are planted in the fields next to a wooden stake. Notice how the grapevines and the spiraling branches grow. Does a grapevine tamer train them into picture-perfect rows? Grapevines are grown in about 8 feet apart. Field workers hand tie the sturdy branches or canes to rows of wire. There are usually 2 sets of wire, a top set that is about 6 feet high and a second wire that is about 3 or 4 feet high. How long do raisins take to grow? A week, a month, or a year? How many hours must you wait for a raisin to appear? It takes at least 3 years until the vines are old enough for the first crop of raisins. That is 26,280 hours. When grapes are ripe and ready, how do the farmers get them down? Do they rent a burly giant to shake them to the ground? When the grapes are ready, skilled grape pickers snag the grape clusters from the vines using a sharp vine cutter. Most grapes are turned into raisins in the same way they've been for thousands of years. They are left to dry naturally in the sun. What do raisins lie on when they're basking in the sun? Do they rest on little beach towels until they're dried and done? The grape clusters are laid on brown paper trays on the ground between the grapevine rows. This is called laying the grapes down. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Most raisin growers plant their vineyards in east to west rows. This way, grapes drying between the rows receive the most sun. If they were drying in north to south rows, the grapes would be in the shade part of the day, and when it comes to raising raisins, the more sun, the better. How do clusters lie around to sweeten, dry, and bake? How many weeks in the valley heat does raisin making take? Raisins bake in the sun for about 2 to 3 weeks. Then the paper trays are rolled into bundles that look like burritos and are left in the field for a few more days to make sure that all the raisins are dry. Raisins do not look like grapes. They are withered up and wrinkled. Are they soaked inside a bathtub until their skin is crinkled? As grapes bake in the hot sun, their water evaporates. The more water they lose, the more grapes shrivel, causing wrinkles. How many grapes must a farmer dry upon the valley ground to make a box of raisins that weighs about 1 pound? It takes about 4½ pounds of fresh grapes to make 1 pound of raisins. How do the raisins get from the fields to the raisin factory door? Does a vacuum cleaner suck them up from the dusty valley floor? Farm workers toss the raisin bundles into a wooden trailer. The raisins are sent across a shaker that gets rid of the dirt and rocks. Then raisins are taken to the factory and stored in big boxes called bins until they are ready to be packaged. Who puts raisins in the boxes that keep them sweet and dried? Do tiny fairy princesses stuff each one inside? When they're needed, raisin bins are brought into the factory for packaging. It takes only 10 minutes from bin to package. Workers and machines take off the stems and cap stems, sort and wash the raisins. Then raisins are packaged in a variety of bags and boxes. What happens to the raisins that aren't the very best? Are they sent to raisin prep school until they pass the test? When it comes to raisins, nothing is wasted. The stems and cap stems are ground up and used for animal feed. Raisins that are not perfect are made into raisin concentrate that is used as natural preservatives in cakes, breads, and cookies. The best raisins are used for eating, baking, and adding to cereals. Raisins taste so very sweet, but they're considered sugar-free. Is each one dipped in honey pot as a busy honeybee? Raisins are naturally sweet. They have the sugar inside from the fruit. What's so great about raisins anyway? They're nutritious. Raisins are rich in iron, calcium, potassium, and B vitamins and provide a good source of fiber. They make other foods taste better. Raisins have tartaric acid, a flavor enhancer. Raisin juice and raisin paste are used in a variety of sauces such as pasta, barbecue, and steak sauces to boost their flavor. Raisin paste is sometimes used as a filler in meatballs and in meat pies to provide more servings. Raisins have a rich natural color. Raisin juice is often added to frozen dairy desserts and baked goods such as a color enhancer or food coloring. Ground raisins can be used instead of fat and fat-free baked goods like fat-free muffins, cookies, and brownies. Raisin paste and raisin juice concentrate are mold inhibitors that prevent food from spoiling as easy. Bakers often use raisin products instead of artificial preservatives. Have you noticed that raisin bread lasts a lot longer than other breads? Raisins extend the shelf life of bakery goods by several days over products without raisin products. So now you know how raisins grow. Here's the little raisin history. Between 1200 and 900 BC, the ancient Phoenicians produced muscat raisins in Spain, so called because they were made from the muscat grapes with their distinctive musk odor. The Phoenicians also made tiny raisins from small seedless grapes grown near Corinth, Greece, called raisin des counts. By the French, they eventually became known as currants. Doctors of ancient Rome and Greece began using raisins to treat all sorts of problems from joint aches to old age. The early Greeks and Romans valued raisins so much that they were given as prizes in sporting events. The Romans started using raisins in trade, and the dried fruit became so valuable that they could be used to purchase just about anything. The ancient general Hannibal, who fought in a war against Rome in the 200s BC, fed raisins to his troops as they crossed the Alps. Raisins didn't become popular in Europe until the 11th century, when knights returning home from the Crusades brought raisins back with them from the Mediterranean and Persia. Grape growing and raising raisins spread to France, Germany, and Spain. Then in the 18th century, Spanish missionaries brought the grape stock and the knowledge of grape growing to Mexico and what is now California. Over the years, raising raisins flourished, but raisin seeds were a problem. When seeds were removed, the raisins became sticky, clumpy mess. Bakers and people who liked to eat raisins found this troublesome. They hoped for a seedless grape that would produce a yummy raisin. In 1876, William Thompson introduced the Lady Day Coverley grape to California. The green grapes were seedless, with thin skins, and produced a sweet, flavorful raisin. These grapes changed the raisin-producing industry forever and are still known today as the Thompson seedless grapes. Today, 95% of the California raisin crops is Thompson seedless grapes. For centuries, from Hannibal to the astronauts, people have valued raisins. Scientists who planted the space shuttle menus knew that raisins are the perfect fast food for long journeys. They are lightweight, don't spoil easily, satisfy the cravings for something sweet, and provide nutrition and energy. Here are some snacks that you could make with raisins. Ants on a log, rats on a raft, and some super balls. They look like some protein balls. The end. So what are some of the interesting facts about the healthy snack of raisins that you learned from this story? What are some of the ways that you have eaten raisins? And what are some other healthy snacks that we should have? Remember, having a healthy snack is a great way to boost your energy throughout the day. So make sure you're eating something healthy if you're about to go out tonight. Have a good day, boys and girls.